Hello everyone, Mr. Newman here, and today we're going to learn about simplifying radicals. Alright, first of all, what is a radical? Well, you all know a radical as a square root, but there are also cube roots and fourth roots. In this class, we're only going to be dealing with square roots. So a radical is simplified when there are no perfect square factors in the radicand. What the heck is a radicand? Well, you notice right here that whatever is underneath the square root symbol is the radicand. So as long as there are no perfect square factors there, we're good. Let's start by writing a list of perfect square factors. So I know 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared, and you all should have these memorized, but if it helps, feel free to write them down on each quiz or worksheet that you work on. I go all the way to 15 squared because you want to have those memorized, and it helps a whole lot when simplifying square roots or simplifying radicals. So the problem is going to look something like this. Please simplify the square root of 40. The first step we're going to do is we're going to write the radical symbol twice. 1, 2. There we go. Next, we're going to find the largest perfect square that divides evenly into the radicand. So in this case, our radicand is 40. And I want to know what is the largest perfect square that divides into it. Well, I know I need to look smaller than 40, otherwise it's not going to divide into it. So 36 is the first perfect square smaller than 40, and 40 divided by 36 is not a nice even number. So 36 is not a factor of 40. Neither is 25, because 40 divided by 25 isn't. And the first one we might need to use a calculator on is 40 divided by 16. Well, it turns out it's not either. Neither is 40 divided by 9. None of those divide evenly. The first number, the largest perfect square that divides evenly into 40, is 4. So let's write that down. 4 is what I'm going to put underneath the first radical. Then, in order to find what goes in the second one, I need to see what's left over when I divide 4 out of 40. So 40 divided by 4 is 10. That means 10 is what is left over or remaining. Also notice that 4 times 10 gives you 40. And anytime you put two things in math right next to each other, like variables or numbers with parentheses or numbers with square roots, radicals, it means multiplication. So 4, the square root of 4 times the square root of 10 is the square root of 40, because 4 times 10 is 40. The third step is to simplify the perfect root and state the answer. In this case, the square root of 4 is our perfect root, and the square root of 4 is 2. So 2 times the square root of 10 is our final answer. Let's do a few practice problems, and I'll let you try some of these as well. For the first one, the square root of 27. Well, first I'm going to write out my perfect squares. I know you have it right above, so you don't need to rewrite these, but I like to see them here on the screen. Now, I'm going to put 2 radicals. In the first one, I'm going to put the largest perfect square. Well, I don't need to check above 27, so let's draw a line there. 27 divided by 25, that doesn't go in evenly. 16 doesn't either, but 9 does, because 27 divided by 9 is 3. So I'm going to write 9 there, and then I'm going to write, well, 27 divided by 9 is 3, so I'm going to write the 3 in the next spot. So we have the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. Lastly, I'm going to simplify that square root, because the square root of 9 is 3. I'm going to write 3 root 3. In other words, 3 times the square root of 3. And that is my final answer. I want you to try the next one on your own. All right, did you get it? Here's what I would do. You write 2 radicals. The largest number that goes into 20, the largest perfect square that goes into 20, if you checked them all, is 4. And 20 divided by 4 is 5, so we have the square root of 4 times the square root of 5 is equal to the square root of 20. Now we just simplify the square root of 4 and we get 2 root 5. Try the next one, square root of 8. All right, did you get it? Here we go. Square root of 8. 4 is the first perfect square that goes in 8. And 8 divided by 4 is 2, so root 2 is the other part of that problem. And we get the square root of 4 is 2, so we get an answer of 2 root 2. All right, try the next one. Do you get it? The difficult one here is that there's more than one perfect square. If you start at the top of the list, 200 divided by 4 works, but that's not the largest perfect square. The largest perfect square is 100. In fact, 4 and 25 both go in, but 100 is the largest perfect square. So we write 102 because 100 times 2 is 200. And the square root of 100 is 10, so our answer is 10 root 2. Thank you very much for watching.